Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. In this video, we go over 3 major events happening tomorrow that will have an impact on the cryptocurrency market as a whole. We'll go into greater depth about each of those 3 occurrences below. One of them is now recognizable to me. Most of us can guess what this video is about. The legislation is available to the general public. Free Ethereum access emails from Heinemann. Because many have wondered whether or not these emails would be as bad as everyone fears, I'd like to relay what Brad Garlinghouse recently said about them. I'd want to tell you about 2 other major events unfolding right now and show you what Brad Garlinghouse had to say about them. This week is going to be absolutely insane. Guys, it is my intention to prepare you thoroughly. Who knows? Since the beginning of the Binance against SEC litigation is tomorrow, it is imperative that you view the entire video. I'd like to begin this video by talking about the first major development. What makes this such a huge deal for the cryptocurrency market as a whole? You may be wondering. Binarism is all it is. After all, from X-holders' perspective, what's the big deal? For the record, I want to stress that the SEC's position in this lawsuit against Binance is utterly ridiculous and would have repercussions for the entire Bitcoin market. The SEC has accused Finance US and Binance of selling unlawful securities and is now aiming to shut down the whole Binance platform. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I assure you that it isn't. As I've already said, the SEC is aiming to have the court issue an emergency order freezing all of Binance's assets. Binance is not an exception. The SEC has no jurisdiction over deals involving foreign companies, therefore this seems ridiculous to us. Thus, the SEC is attempting to overstep its bounds by going after Binance as a whole and bringing an end to the operation of its exchange in every country across the world. This is really scary. And at a hearing tomorrow, a judge will decide whether or not to allow the SEC to act in this fashion. It was interesting to me that Finance responded to this move by saying, "Hey, look, we don't have to go to this extreme. You'll have access to all you need. Binance will give you the private keys to these assets. No ridiculous incident in the United States will occur while this case is proceeding in this fashion. Each of these assets will be under your sole control, eliminating any possibility of our making off with them." Moreover, the SEC flatly declined the proposal. This was a clear message from Finance to the SEC that they would not tolerate the shutdown of the entire exchange. This offer seems reasonable to me. We're pulling out of the American market. You'll have complete control of all assets, and dealing with American customers won't be a problem. This means you can guarantee the security of your clients. While we investigate this claim and try to ascertain whether or not we broke the law, this case will continue. But we will keep going about our business in places where the SEC doesn't have any say. The SEC put a complete end to that, as I mentioned before. Therefore, we will be holding a hearing tomorrow to discuss this issue. Moreover, Metal Lawman claims that the attorney who is representing Finance actually spent 20 years working for the SEC and is quite well regarded. It should be exciting to see him take on the SEC. You better believe this person has a rock-solid case if they're willing to take on the SEC with someone as well-known and well-connected as this one. As a result, watching this unfold should prove to be fascinating. There's going to be a genuine battle here, that much is certain. In my opinion, the SEC's chances of successfully obtaining a court order ordering Binance to freeze all of its assets around the world are quite low at this point. They may not be able to force Binance to freeze its American assets, but I think they could get a court order for it to do so. It's going to be a great struggle, gentlemen. And as I indicated before, a black swan scenario would be for Binance to be forced to freeze all of its assets worldwide. But I seriously doubt that'll actually occur. Hopefully, you now see the significance of this happening. Since something else fascinating happened earlier today that serves to illustrate the scenario, I'm not even including this as one of the 3 major events. This week, Representative Warren Davidson introduced legislation to oust SEC Commissioner Gary Gensler and restructure the commission. Even though John Deaton has assured me that this bill has little chance of passing, the fact that it is being considered at all is astounding. It's further evidence that lawmakers are frustrated with SEC leadership under Gary Gensler. This new bill to dismiss Gary Gensler will be discussed by Warren Davidson and his followers on Twitter tomorrow, which is much more exciting than that. I think this is a great step forward, and people like Warren Davidson deserve a lot of the credit. He's doing everything he can to keep Gary Gensler under wraps. You know, these congressmen don't have all that much power on their own. Therefore, he is only making an effort to make a statement and put pressure on Gary Gensler. As a matter of fact, I anticipate that this will put pressure on Gary Gensler. It seems like wishful thinking to think that this law will be passed. Guys, this is Gary Gensler's last chance. As the blows on his body continue to pile up, he will eventually be unable to sustain any more. In sum, Warren Davidson's novel is fantastic. Again, that's Warren Davidson. Whatever the outcome of this vote, it is imperative that we listen to the voices of the XRP community and the cryptocurrency communities as a whole. I find it fascinating, despite everything, that he proposed this measure today. One of the stranger events in the history of cryptocurrencies will occur tomorrow, and he'll be there to tweet about it when the SEC is forced to release the Bill Hindman Ethereum Free Pass emails. You guys are going to love watching this. My primary worry was that Ripple would simply dismiss this occurrence by saying the emails were bad. Simply letting the public know, okay, these things are extremely damning, would be enough. They were trying to put pressure on the SEC, but I thought Brad Garlinghouse did something really impressive today. In a tweet, he expressed his regret at having to wait 18 months before discussing the emails, saying that he didn't want to go too far with his comments at the time. To sum up, both Stuart Alderete and I agree that the wait will be well worth it. As a result, I found this quite fascinating. I have no idea what will come of Brad Garlinghouse's repeated warnings about the devastating effects of the SEC emails. I've been advised by a number of legal professionals that these won't have a major impact on whether or not XRP is considered a security. But listen up, I think it's fair to say that this could deal a serious hit to the SEC's credibility. Gary Gensler's political base among Democrats is beginning to turn on him. I would have never imagined seeing something like that in a million years. Given the current political climate in the United States, situations like these just don't arise. If Democrats are already rejecting Gary Gensler, then a good chunk of Republican voters must be on board, too. Very much against working with Gensler. They are just being themselves. That's just the way things work in American politics, Bitcoin or no cryptocurrency. A lot of pressure will be put on him. There is a scene in which Warren Davidson proposes legislation that will ultimately lead to his resignation. Guys, the SEC is about to take a serious blow. Like I noted before, this is why many bills being debated in Congress don't give the SEC any real authority over the Bitcoin industry, they just give the SEC the appearance of authority. Centralized systems that generate yield and staking products will be under the jurisdiction of the SEC. These objects are being held as collateral. We need to move forward from that. But I seriously doubt that any current member of Congress accepts the SEC's characterization of Bitcoin tokens as securities. With all the legalese the SEC has been using to argue that everything has always been clear and that these assets have always been securities, this will be a huge step in proving that the SEC has not been being truthful and has instead been bringing enforcement actions against this industry in bad faith. I'm not going to sit here in this video and make assumptions about what's in these emails a day before they're made public. I just want to watch and see what develops. I'll be honest with you guys, I can't wait until tomorrow to find out what we've been waiting for, because Brad Garlinghouse went out of his way to prove that these emails are truly terrible and well worth the anticipation. After tomorrow's publication, I think it will be clear as day that XRP is not a security and that the SEC was aware of this, putting Ripple in a much better position to win this lawsuit altogether. They brought this litigation to achieve something the XRP community has wanted all along. Let Ethereum ride shotgun in an effort to control the Ethereum market and slow the development of the most important cryptocurrency, XRP. I wanted to conclude up this video by talking about tomorrow's final major event for the cryptocurrency sector, the release of Consumer Price Index data. You might be curious about the effects of US inflation data on various digital currencies. I'll keep this brief for you all. Every economist, major financial institution, and government agency in the United States agrees that inflation is a serious problem for the economy. Inflation, as we have seen, is falling precipitously and is expected to fall even more sharply over the next few months. Since the Federal Reserve has been trying to curb inflation, this might be good news for the stock market. As a result of them increasing interest rates to combat inflation, risky assets have taken a hit. There isn't enough time to explain why risk assets perform poorly when the Federal Reserve raises inflation in this video. Remember that a hike in interest rates by the Federal Reserve would be disastrous for high-risk investments. As inflation returns to more typical levels, however, it appears that the Fed may have won its battle against inflation. If we can get inflation back to normal levels, the Federal Reserve will be able to begin cutting interest rates, which would spark a stock market boom. Inflation is already significantly lower than many people believe, according to many very intelligent experts who are now publicly declaring this. And you know what? As I see smart people dissect this, I'm coming around to their point of view. And I think the global cryptocurrency market may see a large boost if inflation is shown to be below 4% or at the forecast rate of 4.2% tomorrow. Anyway, I'm hoping this video was entertaining for you guys. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. See you later, bye.